he's like, "Sup, dude? By the way, my 17-year-old father thinks you're hot." And I was like, uh-oh.
Man, don't you just love it when alleged decide to try to claim they're Christian now to avoid scrutiny? Yeah, me too. As a lot of you are probably aware, in the gaming commentary sphere, there's a very notorious and very specific group of individuals known as the anti-woke grifters. These people are pretty notable for not really adding anything to the gaming commentary space whatsoever, and if anything, just detracting from it, since all they do is complain about the uglification of women in gaming. Or they'll complain that there was black people working on a game that they were excited for at first, which is of course very telling. These people don't really care about reviewing a game and simply care about pushing their own ideology or agenda onto other people. But I think a more interesting phenomenon that we've seen in more recent memory is when anti-woke grifters try to appeal to religion and claim that they're making religious content now, which is both as funny and as stupid as you can probably imagine. And funny enough, in doing this, they've also earned the ire of actually religious people who don't want people like this representing them. This is an incredibly fascinating subset of anti-woke grifters, and arguably some of the more deranged ones as well. So today, let's look at some of these anti-woke grifters who try to use religion as a shield, talk about why that didn't work out for them at all, and also talk about why they earned the ire of actually religious people. To start, let's look at the bald abuser whose dad single-handedly started causing the military to look more at sexual assault cases, that being Tectone. In order to fully understand Tectone and why he went down this path to begin with, it's really worth looking at his entire career as a content creator and how he got to the place he's currently at. Tectone started off as a Twitch live streamer who mostly streamed Genshin Impact and many different gacha games such as that, and also apparently gambled most of his revenue away just on that game.
350?
Higher.
400.
Higher.
500?
A little bit higher.
Wait,
550.
on just Genshin?
Yeah, I spent $500,000 on Genshin Impact.
Wow, Genshin really is the Caesar's Palace of today, huh? Tectone has actually been streaming since 2015, but his popularity really began to surge when he started doing gacha games such as this. But in order to actually get to the meat of this situation and why Tectone has become a lot more controversial in recent memory, we need to fast forward to 2022. On August 31st of this year, Tectone did a stream talking about how him and his wife weren't exactly seeing eye to eye anymore. In his own words, since they'd been together since he was very young, he felt like he developed a codependency on her and he couldn't really do anything on his own anymore.
You look good. You've been losing weight. Do I look different than when I first started Camp Canoe?
Yeah.
Because I'm bald?
Because your face.
Abusive relationship.
That's why I'm leaving.
Okay, I don't like this joke anymore. I don't like this joke. Frig. I'll give you a hug. I have a hug back. The pat on the back feels very father-son-ish.
There's the quote-unquote joke about the abusive relationship from his wife there, and also the incredibly awkward body language where it looks very much like she doesn't really want to hug him at all. But at least at the time, Tectone's audience and most other people simply assumed their favorite streamer was just having a simple disagreement with his wife. Oh hey, guess what? 4 months later, Tectone actually did get divorced, and his wife filed for it too. Following this, Tectone would immediately start a new relationship with OnlyFans model and Twitch streamer Pinkchu. It was around this time, given the circumstances of everything, that people began to raise questions as to whether Tectone was actually abusive to Freema, his previous ex-wife, or not. Most notably, a lot of questions started being raised because of this clip resurfacing in particular.
I love him.
Don't touch me.
I'm patient.
No, you're not. You're like the most impatient, moody I've ever met.
Patient when it comes to you.
Freem, I carry our marriage, and you know that. Freem, you know that. But marriage, dude, I am the conflict resolution god.
Yeah, you are.
100%.
No, 100% you are.
I am the greatest shoulder to cry on. I am the greatest consoler. I'm understanding everything. The romantic I do is crazy. Freem, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I am an incredible husband.
I never said that you weren't.
But you never said that I was.
Obviously, from this clip, it's pretty clear that Tectone is coming off as a major jerk here and is constantly pushing his wife away. A lot of clips like this ended up resurfacing around the time he got married, which honestly kind of makes me wonder how much he was really hiding this in previous streams at all between his wife, and as a result, a lot of people did start to raise some eyebrows as to the real reason why Tectone actually might have gotten divorced to begin with. After the car clip of him verbally abusing Freem was posted to r/livestream fail, he chose to jump in and and try to run defense for himself in this situation. He ended up posting right under the clip and tried to claim that he and Freem had divorced to save their friendship. Right, okay, sure. Of course, this response didn't go over very well at all, and he got almost negative 3k karma because of this, which is kind of insane. So after seeing how negatively people reacted to him here on Reddit, he thought it'd be a great idea to try and talk about this on his Twitch stream instead. Wow, what brilliant thinking there, Tech. And he threw himself an entire pity party on stream here.
I just really want Freem to be able to get out of the public eye. That's all I want. Oh, because she was my wife for a very long time, and I don't like remembering how ugly the end of our marriage got. My life's going in a great direction, and that's the only reason why it hurts. That's the only reason why it's scary. Am I gonna get canceled over this? No. You wanna know why? Because I don't have secrets. The last 2 years were really rough. It was really rough. Now the shit that I would do with Freem, the icky shit I would do with Freem, that wasn't good, right? I'm probably gonna delete this VOD after this stream. But holy dude, my friends can't even react to me without it being a hate thread. It's crazy. It's crazy!
Now, keep in mind, Tectone hadn't really had any negative accusations lobbed his way yet, keyword yet, but he still proceeded to cry on stream simply because some people reacted to him in the car clip. Yet here he is bitching and moaning about it on stream and also claiming he has nothing to hide whatsoever. I wonder why you brought that up, Techie. Nobody said you had to hide anything. And inevitably, this would be clarified later on when Tectone replied to one of Freem's tweets, and when she replied not so nicely, she later tweeted clarifying that they had not divorced on good terms. Which, of course, given the circumstances of things, is something that people had already been speculating, but Tectone himself had never wanted to admit. Wow, what a complete shock, he was actually keeping secrets the whole time. But because of the details coming out from Freem that no, her and Tectone had not parted on good terms, and in fact they weren't friends currently at all, Tectone apparently made up in his mind that he had to strike back somehow at Freem and make her look disingenuous. And in order to do so, he decided to use his then current girlfriend, Pink, to defame his ex-wife. Wow, really fighting your own battles there, aren't you, buddy? He had Pink post about Freem and try to claim that she was spying on her and also sharing things with her colleagues and friends. She tried to say things about Freem that she thought would make her look like a criminal on Tectone's behalf. And the reason for this is not long earlier, Tectone and Pink had found out that Freem was actually compiling a Google Doc that she planned to release to the public. And this Google Doc was full of assault allegations against Tectone himself involving Freem. Funny enough, not long after Tectone actually had Pink post this initial tweet, he would actually break up with her too. And when that happened, Pink would actually make a post going back on what she claimed about Freem previously and also claiming that Tectone was cheating on her during their time together. Now, admittedly, these are all just allegations. There wasn't anything concrete against Tectone just yet. But to be fair, with two of these back to back, it's not exactly looking great for someone like him. Also, random side note, I love that he had Pink write that she didn't want to go to the police with the situation with her, Tectone, and Freem because she thought it would be even worse if she did. When, funny enough, Freem, or rather Tectone, actually would have been much better off going to the police in that situation, but they obviously didn't want to because they knew the allegations they were making against this person were false. So instead of actually handling it responsibly and legally, they just aired it out on Twitter, which is, of course, very par for the course with someone like Tectone. He already wanted to spread a narrative on Freem before she could actually get any allegations out to try to make her look as disingenuous as possible. Funny enough, he would actually continue to do this on a Twitch stream later, poisoning the well by talking about Freem while not dropping her name at all. And funny enough, when he and Pink broke up later as well, due to the accusations of him cheating, he also did this exact same tactic.
Posse decides to go to the dark side because they're too dumb to realize how good they had it with the main group. People who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, it's fine. It's all good. I'm not the person who keeps saying like, oh man, I'm gonna keep talking about it. Why are you talking about it? I'm gonna keep talking about it. And I'm letting you guys know, for all you guys who know what I'm talking about, just know that person is gonna keep talking about it till the end of time. So we'll probably be going over this about 80,000 more times. And it's gonna be weird as shit. And I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna keep being weird as shit, okay? It's gonna keep being weird as shit.
He went on stream and said some weird and bad stuff was gonna happen and told his audience to prepare for it, but was very careful not to actually drop any names. Both times, this was him carefully setting things up so that both Freem and Pink would be seen as disingenuous when making these claims against him.
They're out of control right now. And aren't I so kind by not even saying their name? Because I am trying so hard to keep things
cordial, but holy, I am trying so hard to keep it cordial. I am trying so hard not even to bring up their name. Jesus Christ. It's just too much, man. It's like every day, all these can't keep my name out their mouth, and I do them a service of never even mentioning their name to not exacerbate the issue. But I swear to God, one of my closest friends coming out, they think that shit me? Hell no!
Yeah, closest friends. Not like she was your girlfriend for 2 years there, buddy. I also find it funny that he claims to have receipts of things, that he will leak them if things get to that level, when, funny enough, at any moment where it would seem beneficial for him to show these receipts, he actually never does in this whole situation. Huh, funny, I wonder why you're not showing these receipts that you seem totally adamant on claiming that you actually have. Funny enough, the only hard document that he actually shows between either of these situations is the lawsuit document that he had Pink write up against Freem. And honestly, this is probably one of the most amateurish lawsuit documents I have ever seen. Like, it literally describes Freem dressing up as Kim Possible so she could cheat on Tectone. Come on! This feels like a child wrote this. And of course, later, Pink would claim that she was put up by Tectone to write this document anyway to begin with, which explains a lot of the way it is written. Also, this is gonna sound like low-hanging fruit because, in a way, it is, but I just love how much he looks at the camera like every second in all of these clips. It's like he so desperately wants to look convincing to his audience, so he just keeps checking himself out in the mirror. It's kind of hilarious how much he's freaking out over this and worried that he's gonna get exposed by his ex-girlfriend and his ex-wife. The day after this stream, Tectone took to Twitter to finally drop Pink's name and claim that she had 2 weeks to retract her statement or else his lawyers would be coming for her. And it was also here that he would claim he's also a victim so that Pink shouldn't claim that she was a at all and shouldn't make accusations about that. Wow, alright then, dude. You really aren't making yourself look any better here whatsoever trying to shut down another victim's story. You'd think, since you claim also to be a victim, that you would actually know how to properly address this, but clearly you don't. But I think something that's actually more interesting is that following the publication of this tweet, the VTuber Kitnetic would actually respond to what Tectone said, since apparently she had actually been receiving testimony about these specific situations from both Freem and Pink. And according to her, despite neither woman being aware of the other's plight at the time, both their stories were exactly the same. When you have two separate women who don't know about each other's stories, who get with the same guy and come away from that guy with the exact same story, you really begin to question a lot of things here in general. In fact, Pink would actually reply to this tweet with a heart, showing she felt like her story had finally been heard here. It was actually around this time of his own controversies beginning to bubble up that Tectone would resign from the streamer group he was a part of, that being OTK. And because of this, it was speculated, although of course nothing was really confirmed here either, that Tectone left OTK due to his own controversies and the fact that OTK had become very controversial in of itself. The streamer Mizkif, who was the co-founder of OTK, had become embroiled in his own controversies as well from his ex Emiru. In particular, Emiru was claiming assault, abuse, and harassment against him. Also, this is the same Emiru who was essayed at TwitchCon this year. Man, I feel bad for this girl. She can't catch a break. The initial controversy with Mizkif actually happened all the way back in 2022, but in 2024, when his own controversies were happening, Tectone was actually still a loud and proud member of OTK. So while it's not proven, I do see why people would speculate that Tectone would leave OTK in 2024 when his own SA allegations were happening, simply because he didn't want people bringing up the co-founder's own allegations and linking that to him. Finally, after this particular situation and all the more suspicion being cast upon him, Tectone finally decided to address things a second time. And his quote-unquote addressing of things here on stream was quite possibly worse than the last time he did this.
We're going to talk about everything. However, in regards to a specific situation, I am only going to give you the tip of the iceberg, because the rest I am going to hold until I need to say it.
Well, it seems like now would be a pretty good time to say it, given all the questions people have about you in resigning from OTK, as well as all the allegations against you as well. Kinda weird and oddly convenient that you would want to hold back on that information that could totally clear your name here. Jesus Christ, this guy is so dishonest.
I want to let you guys know one thing. I am not going to tell you a single lie this entire stream. At least I'm gonna try not to. And you know what's crazy? Oh, and guys, in case you don't know what the allegations are, let's just get them out of the way. I have been accused by my ex-girlfriend of being abusive, mentally abusive, and potential. I've been accused of all those things. And before, there's a guy in chat who's saying
again. This isn't an again thing. This is a one-time thing.
Oh, one-time thing, huh? Then how about your ex-wife? Why are you leaving Freem out of this and only talking about Pink? Tectone is just outright lying here to his audience. The truth is, this has happened more than once, and there is a pattern of allegations against him. He doesn't want to admit this, however, since he knows he's already in enough hot water as is with Pink's allegations, and he doesn't want to make it look like there were even more allegations against him already to begin with.
He doesn't touch you, doesn't have sex with you, and keeps you around as a blood machine and degrades you. First of all, I've never degraded you. I never have, never will. And the other reason is Pink. You understand why I would not have sex with you. As a victim of sexual assault and rape myself, I had trauma when it came to having sex.
It's funny he says he's not comfortable having sex here because, funny enough, not long afterward, in a different stream, he actually brags about having tons of sex.
I just passed the out, dude. Like, I mean, oh, Jesus. I was just having so much sex. I could just, man, I just passed out. I don't know. I just blew my load.
Tectone doesn't even try to keep anything consistent here. He's such a big liar, and it's so easy to catch him in a lie. He basically just hopes his audience is dumb enough to believe everything he says at face value without actually fact-checking. It's honestly kind of hilarious that he thinks people won't bother fact-checking things he says.
So you owe me. Pink, you implied that I was paying you to suck my. That is not true. You know that's not true. What you would do is, you would go upstairs, you would record your OnlyFans, and then you would beg me to suck my dick.
Move this man!
You say that I would say, do your job, you don't pay rent. This is factually untrue. Here is you paying rent, not one time, but multiple times. That is you paying rent. And now what you might be thinking is, oh, well, maybe those are just edited screenshots. Well, then if you're not happy with my word, allow me to show you your own. My trauma with Tectone. I have been Tectone's roommate for a year now, and I can say he is one of the most understanding, kindest persons I have ever met, and contrary to popular belief, I do pay rent.
I find this incredibly funny and also very intentionally deceptive on Tectone's part because actually Pink never said that she didn't pay rent. What she did say is that Tectone told her she doesn't pay rent, so she has to pay him back in these other ways. Funny enough, Tectone himself would admit in a separate clip that she doesn't pay rent.
She said that Tectone told her that since you don't pay rent, you have to pay me back in these other ways. And then we literally saw a video of him doing exactly that. She never said that she never paid rent. She said that he said she never paid rent.
Is that the garbage has not been taken out in 7 days. It's Pink's responsibility. And the reality is that she's in my house role-playing as a goth Hooters orderer, waitress. And honestly, it's really annoying because the reality is she doesn't pay rent. The reality is she doesn't pay rent. She's not doing her responsibilities, and she needs to do her fucking job.
Hang on a minute.
The garbage is
bro. So, dude, that is very deceptive on his part.
Tectone is such a habitual liar, but it's really funny to me because it's so easy to catch him in a lie. He'll say one thing, that'll get clipped, and then in another clip, funny enough, he'll often say the exact opposite of what he was saying before. This man cannot keep anything consistent to save his own life. It's hilarious, but also kind of sad. After this, Tectone would tweet out about Pink again and try to claim that she knows all the loopholes in the defamation case that he's a part of. Not only knowing Pink's personality is this incredibly dumb seeming, but also it's funny because it doesn't seem like Tectone really understands what defamation is in this case. On the website Law Shelf, it states that for a statement to be considered defamation, it must be about the plaintiff. Even if the statement does not mention him or her by name, it can be actionable on grounds of defamation if a reasonable person would understand the communication as referring to the plaintiff. And seeing as how every person on the internet that even knew about this situation to begin with knew it because of Tectone, it seems like he can't actually actually sue her at all for defamation. He's the one bringing it up in the first place, so he can't actually sue her for defamation. I also love that right after this, Tectone got a Berserk tattoo, which if you don't know about the context of this in Berserk, the people that get these tattoos are doomed for eternity to be pursued and sacrificed by demons. So this is Tectone, again, not so subtly telling his audience because he got sexual assault allegations against him, he's being pursued by demons. Oh my gosh, dude, you are being so petty about this. You'd think if these allegations didn't hold any water, he wouldn't be giving it so much attention. And funny enough, it was exactly around this time that two major things came out about both him and his dad that caused him to finally do the religious grift that I mentioned before. Tectone has previously mentioned that he hates religion and he hated growing up in a Christian household. But just about a month ago, he decided to claim he's now a Christian and wants to follow the ways of Jesus. If he hated Christianity so much and supposedly still does, why exactly do you think he's jumping on the Christian bandwagon here? Well, when we look at the two most recent controversies that have come out about him, it becomes very, very clear why. Tectone himself has been confirmed as a loli gooner, and his dad has been confirmed as the biggest in US military history. I wish I was making that up, but sadly I am not. These are both a very big can of worms in their own right, so let's start by getting Tectone's dad out of the way and the whole situation with him. So this story brings us to earlier this year, where in May, Tectone tweeted out how he was gonna leave Twitch if the streamer Hassan Piker wasn't removed from the platform. And funny enough, in this tweet, he brings up his father and specifically says, "My father, my brothers, and our soldiers did not bleed, sacrifice, and die for this bull to be allowed and promoted on Twitch." And funny enough, guess what information that people immediately uncovered right after this tweet was posted? That's right, Tectone's father, Michael Robertson, was actually one of the most notorious in all of US military history. He had 14 different documented cases of him assaulting women, including showing them pornography without their consent and also just straight up sexually harassing them. And of course, there were actual documented cases of him just straight up them as well.
When he told his commander, his report was ignored. The Department of Defense says 19,000 incidents of assault occurred in 2010 alone. Nearly 90% went unreported.
Biggest photo you see is of Colonel Michael Robertson. He was convicted of 14 accounts of
This information coming out amidst Tectone's own assault scandals being very fresh in people's minds was really not a good look at all for him, as if any of the other things we already talked about already were. But the thing that makes this even worse is that Tectone had his own dad on stream multiple times before this information came to light. And in almost every instance of him having his dad on stream, there was almost always some horny or degenerate thing that he would say.
You're not aware of my first podcast with Techie.
Oh, the one where I showed you.
What do you think about that?
Do it again.
Daddy issues?
They all have daddy issues. Well, she has a facial expression as if to say, "Hey, sailor." I like the little short dress. She looks like she works out.
First thing he did was he put me into some kind of headset and costume and put me in this AI room.
VR chat.
Am I moving? Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's chill. And that's
Yeah, but how? Oh, Lord have mercy.
And so he's got me in that headset and I'm in there and
I'm holding them on.
It's getting bad. And but I don't know if it's as dressed up as a girl.
I gotcha.
Right, because that's the thing.
Yeah, or whether it's you dressed up as a girl.
Probably mostly
Yeah.
Asmund.
Okay, so let's say you meet a woman at a gaming convention. Things are busy and you don't really get to talk to her, and you end up back in a hotel room and you have sex. And it's the greatest sex you've ever had. And then the next morning, you're gonna go to breakfast. Before you can get to breakfast, she's at you about the toilet seat.
Yeah, like women do. They.
And you can, the sensors made it feel like I was being touched.
Damn.
Yeah. And it felt like this one character was unzipping my pants.
Freckles, the hair.
And I want you to bark for me.
Woof. Wait a minute, I got another dog. I got another. Want to hear my other dog? Oh, oh. That's my other dog. Woof, woof. Oh, oh. How we doing? She looks real submissive and looks like, in the words of Halsey, I can take a pounding.
What do you think?
6 years old, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what she looks like.
Do you know what a lolly is?
Looks like a 3-year-old.
What a furry is?
No.
There are people who dress up in like dog suits. We know what pegging is.
I can tell you a great pegging story.
One of them. 8 stepmoms? Hold up. What?
7 stepmoms? How many have I had?
I'm a bad man, but it ain't, okay? It's like saying you're going to make not have the money shot. It ain't there ain't a money shot. You know, people ask me what was about the military. What did you like? Well, I love the camaraderie.
Stop military.
One of the first things Tectone says to me is like, "Sup, dude? By the way, my 17-year-old father thinks you're hot." And I was like, uh-oh.
I find it real funny in those last 2 clips that not only does Tectone throw Emiru under the bus by claiming that Ms. Kiff only dumped her because he pissed in the shower or whatever, when no, Emiru dumped him for reasons that we now know, but he also tells her that his 70-year-old dad thinks that she's hot. Jesus Christ, man, I don't know how people didn't see these red flags sooner. Funny enough, right after all this came out, Tectone would try to deny that he knew about any of his dad's wrongdoings at all, and also try to claim that his dad held a gun to his neck at one point.
He took some of the aggression out on me about 2 days before he got sent to jail. I got back from soccer practice, which I joined because I wanted to make my dad proud. And I put an empty orange soda can on top of my trash can. And my father threw me to the ground and put a gun against my head, and he said, "Give me a good reason not to shoot you."
He also claims he's been very open about this whole situation regarding his dad going to prison. Funny enough, 2 weeks before saying this, he had a different stream where he tried to feign ignorance when someone brought up his father's convictions to him.
Your father went to jail for the same Oh, really? Wait, tell me more, man. Tell me more. What else? Who'd my dad Who? 5 women in the military accuse your father of Really? That's crazy. You think so? What else? That's why he went to jail discussing Phil. Really, man? That's interesting. How do you know so much? How are you so all-knowing? My father's gone to prison. I'm very open about this.
You are a bald-faced liar.
Wow, dude, you are really not good at covering any of this up at all. Tectone could have just acknowledged what his father had done previously, and the fact that he brought him on stream amidst his own controversy made him look pretty bad, but he didn't. Instead, he just tried to appeal to the emotions of his viewers by fake crying on stream and talking about his quote-unquote childhood trauma with his dad. Like, come on, dude, just take the L and move on.
When I was a young boy, I came from a very, very, very poor family. I did. My mother never really treated me well, and I was named after my father's best friend because I was supposed to die at birth.
Are you serious right now, bro?
I lived with my mother until about 3rd grade, and you know, something very bad happens to me. I don't feel like talking about it. Due to that thing happening to me, lawyers get involved, the court gets involved. When I moved in with my dad, it was a very like hands-off relationship with me and my dad. He bought me and my brothers a separate apartment to live, while him and my stepmom lived in a separate apartment.
Funny enough, he's actually lying here too about something as simple as the apartment that him and his brothers stayed in. Take a look at what his dad had to say about this on their podcast together with Asmongold and Emiru.
Said that whenever he was in high school, you had a separate apartment for them to be at so you could have privacy with your own apartment.
Fourth grade.
All right. That's not untrue, but that is a misrepresentation of the truth. So he and his brothers went into a 2-bedroom that was down the hall until 4 months later when we moved to a house.
Like, come on, man. Lying about something as simple as that even. Tectone is such a habitual liar, even about things as simple as this, that it's kind of insane. Like, come on, bro. It cannot be that hard just to tell the truth here. It's very clear that he's just now trying to throw his dad under the bus with all the information out there about him, when really you can see that he was pretty happy bringing him on streams a lot in the past. And also apparently being comfortable enough to bring him on a podcast with Emiru and Asmongold not long after telling Emiru that his 70-year-old dad thought she was hot. You really aren't fooling anyone here at all, Tectone. Now that we've discussed his dad, however, let's talk about Tectone's own personal little lolly obsession that he has regarding Genshin Impact.
Next up, Paimon. Dude, I feel like if Paimon were to visit me, I feel like we'd just be best friends. You know? And I bet she would taste delicious. Imagine how Paimon's feet would taste when she's 18. Probably like cinnamon and honey. Should be fine. B for I can't believe she's not butter. Awful. Chi-Chi, S tier, adorable. Okay? Hilarious. Cute. Get this girl a cocoa goat. Okay? She is adorable.
She is beautiful.
Wow, of course you would put that character of all things in S tier. You are not really helping yourself beat the allegations here, buddy. So yes, Tectone is somebody who is very much into lolly as it would seem here. He's put lolly characters in Genshin tier lists before, and also he had his dad over at one point to rate different lolly characters. But I think the thing that's the most ironic about this is that at one point he actually tried to deplatform another creator who was also rating lolly characters in a Genshin tier list. He called that creator disgusting, which yes, they are, but also you're disgusting as well for doing the exact same thing, Tectone. This is like if a bank robber just reports another bank robber. You're doing the exact same thing that guy is doing. This is another tactic that Tectone often seems to utilize. He will often report other creators who are doing the exact same kinds of wrongdoings that he often does. It's almost like he thinks that him being the whistleblower will distract people from his own wrongdoings, when really it just makes him look like a giant hypocrite. Funny enough, this lolly obsession will actually play directly into the next creator we're going to talk about here shortly, who, funny enough, is an exact product of Tectone doing this sort of thing. But with Tectone now facing allegations from two exes of his dad facing allegations and making him look worse, and also people finding out about the gross way that he's talked about lolly characters before, it was not looking good at all for Tectone's career here. People even ended up going through his Twitter following list and found he was following a lot of explicit lolly artists, go figure. He was also called out for speaking sexually about a 15-year-old trans lolly from Genshin Impact. And of course, he liked a post showing this 15-year-old character getting plowed by a black furry creature. Wow. Kind of explains why he thinks furries are all about sex, when really, if you know anything about furry culture, that's kinda not really what it is. This is coming from someone who, believe it or not, doesn't even identify as a furry, by the way. Even I know this stuff. But regardless, it seems all these controversies popping up this year specifically actually has resulted in Tectone getting banned from Twitch about 5 times. And also just in general losing a lot of goodwill from people, not even just because of his own actions, but just because of the people he associates with, such as his father, but also Nuxtaku. For those who don't know, Nuxtaku is a very notorious enthusiast that I don't have the time to get into in this video, but just know that he's put a lot of on his thumbnails. And he's also a past known associate of the notorious artist Shadman. And finally, now that we know all the controversy surrounding Tectone, we can get to the crux of exactly why I made this video and what he tried to do to deflect some of the controversy off of him. Tectone decided to come out and try to claim that he's Christian now. This was in a video simply called Faith. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
And I think what I'm about to say is going to be very relatable to a lot of people, because I've kind of been talking about this to some of my friends lately, and they say that they kind of have a similar experience, and they kind of want to give this a shot with me. But I was actually going to do a very off-brand video for me, but I was kind of going to tell you guys why I kind of gave up on religion when I was a child, and why I'm open to giving it another shot today. Obviously, my parent was very hardcore Christian, and my grandparents were very hardcore Christians, and everyone around me was very hardcore Christian, and well, they weren't really that nice to me. I mean, I'll just be real. They weren't really that nice. And I'm like, well, these people all suck, and they're mean, and they tell me to believe in God, but they're really mean to me, and they tell me mean stuff. It reminds me of that Waterboy movie with Adam Sandler, where it's like, girls are the devil. You're going to go to hell if you talk to any of those women, which, I mean, to be honest, I think my life would be much easier if I never talked to a woman, but oh well.
I think you're right, Tectone. If you hadn't gotten married and also been abusive to both of the women in your life, you probably wouldn't be in this position. So yeah, it does look like you're right for once. With all these allegations against you, it does look like your life would have been better off if you never touched a woman.
I don't know if you guys know what dimethyltryptamine is. It's like this plant that apparently you like smoke, and this was like back in like 2010, 2011s. And apparently there was like this one thing where you like pass out, you meet these 3 guys, and they kind of look at your body and they tell you, they like take you around like the world, and they break down things algebraically and mathematically, and they say, we were expecting you, but you came earlier than we anticipated. And it was like leading people to believe that this was like kind of the gateway to like heaven and all that shit.
He has to be high when making this video, there is no way, dude. But interestingly enough, what Tectone is referring to here regarding DMT actually isn't even a part of traditional Christianity. The use of the DMT drug to try to meet religious deities is actually most associated with the Santo Daime religion. Funny enough, if you look at what most traditional Christian preachers usually have to say about drugs, they generally consider a sin against God or whatever.
Don't judge. Marijuana is just an herb of the Lord. I always say, so is poison oak. But there's a good thing and a bad thing, and you don't want to do that. By the way, you know, remember back in the old days when marijuana used to be illegal? Now some of you are like, yeah, I'm so glad it's legal now. Hope that's not Ethan Creekers. Oh, don't judge me, Pastor Brett. It's just an herb of the Lord. You know, it's tough because I had friends in high school who smoked weed, and I knew it, and you could kind of see it, but it's sad. I mean, how many of you guys have old friends that have been smoking weed for a long time and like, marijuana's been proven scientifically to not slow down one's cognitive skills? Like I've actually heard a friend of mine say that. Probably slower than what I just did. And it's kind of sad.
So even just right off the bat here, Tectone shows a pretty massive misunderstanding of what traditional Christianity actually is.
I've also been kind of just really meditating and realizing what I want to do, what I want to be, and what I want my life to look like when I finish my journey as a content creator, which I'll never be able to retire, guys. I tried. I stayed off Twitter for like 5 days, but I love Twitter so much. It's so bad. It's like I love it and I hate it. It's like PvP. It's so bad.
Yeah, no, you didn't really try, actually. You uploaded a video a month ago saying you were quitting content creation titled Goodbye for Now, but then 3 days after that video went up, you went right ahead and uploaded another video saying how you couldn't stay off Twitter. You are one of the biggest hypocrites and most blatant liars I think I've ever seen in all of content creation.
I think I'm okay with saying this. There was a YouTuber by the name of Tactikal Templar that kind of made Jesus seem pretty cool, as well as Nuxtaku that made Jesus seem pretty cool.
Wow, yeah, great job bringing up the lolly-loving VTuber who has put barely censored child on his thumbnails as an example of a Christian you want to look up to. Oh, sorry, I mean quote-unquote Christian, because I think anyone with a brain can see from 10 miles away that Nuxtaku, of all people, is the farthest thing from a traditional Christian. It's painfully clear throughout this entire video that Tectone doesn't actually know or really care about what Christianity really is or is seen as. He's simply just saying he's considering being a Christian to try and distract people from the things that he's already been accused of many times this year. As we've seen is his tactic with many other situations in the past, he's just trying to distract his audience from the things he's already been accused of. But if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you might find that other name that Tectone brought up there pretty familiar sounding. Tactikal Templar, where have I heard that name before? Oh right, the guy whose brain I apparently live rent-free in, oh boy.
This content creator is named Utterly Noah. They are a furry and they are a So ladies and gentlemen, as a content creator, there are many things that you have to get used to and comfortable with. Like the reality that if you put an opinion on the internet, there are going to be people that don't like it for one reason or another. And those people are well within their right to make a video criticizing your video. That is the marketplace of ideas. And I'm all for that and I completely support that. However, one thing that I don't think I will ever get used to is the sort of type of people that you will encounter. This is a YouTube channel called Utterly Noah. This is the avatar. This person uses blue sky. The red flags, they are already a building up. Brothers, welcome to the channel. We're gonna look at a bunch of furries that took exception to a bit of content that I made. This guy, Utterly Noah, is a furry. Either way, the video is still going back up and the sentiment has not changed. However, we have the perpetual lying from these people on the left. Utterly Noah, who is the furry in question, this gay lisping decided that they were going to go out and try to make some statement about, oh yes, I can see why it got deleted. It could be 100,000, 1 million Utterly Noahs making videos saying that no, these women are beautiful, there's nothing to see here. And the reality is that it wouldn't matter because no amount of propaganda in the world is going to compensate for what you're seeing on your screen. is a video from a content creator named Otterly Noah.
So for those who don't know, Tactikal Templar is another anti-woke slop channel that basically just posts constantly about things like Twitch, Hassan Piker, DEI in video games, the uglification of women in video games, Disney, and most of the other things that these guys constantly talk about with no variety whatsoever. My personal first encounter with Templar, however, was after I did the James Bond video a while back that some of you might remember. In this video, I debunked various anti-woke criticisms of James Bond in general from Tactikal Templar actually regarding the upcoming video game, Dr. Disaster, and also Nerdrotic. However, unlike the other two creators that I discussed there, Tactikal Templar actually got angry enough to make a full response video to my video. And the entire thing was very, very funny, with him complaining about the new James Bond game having a black money penny in it, and comparing that to painting over the Mona Lisa and making her black.
This is an overt effort by a bunch of incompetent, whacked out of their mind, deranged, divorced from reality freaks to change this into something that it was never intended to be. This is putting a mustache on the Mona Lisa. This is going, well, Leonardo da Vinci didn't really have enough people of color in his paintings, so we're going to paint over the Mona Lisa and make her black.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Ah yes, because clearly an upcoming James Bond game for the Hitman developers that hasn't even come out yet is very comparable to one of the greatest works of art ever made. The jokes just really write themselves with Templar overall. He's a very funny person, and I've had my fair share of fun dunking on him in several videos now, including my anti-woke animation video and also my Spider-Man one. I think the funniest part about this guy though is that he always takes the bait every single time. He's always the easiest person to troll because he always plays things so straight and always constantly takes the bait from people like myself and others. So you can imagine how happy I was to see that recently other people have started commenting on Templar as well and also taking part in dunking on him. Recently, Templar came under fire from some folks for making a tweet talking about rape and saying that you can't your wife or husband and that consent is implied. Wow, that sure is a big yikes, but also pretty ridiculous to say to begin with, especially on a public platform like Twitter. And as luck would have it, a lot of people found out about this tweet and immediately took to roasting him because, let's face it, that's a pretty easy thing to roast in general. Templar is of course objectively wrong here since, yes, you can your wife or husband, obviously. Assault can happen to quite literally anyone, but unfortunately our favorite crusading lolcow couldn't quite understand that. And now the majority of the commentary community on the internet has taken to clowning on him, and rightfully so. But one thing that I noticed about Templar back when I was making those initial videos on him is just how much he simps for someone like Tectone. This is exactly where the link between the two becomes very clear. So Templar here is a very big fan of Tectone and apparently has been a fan of him since the Genshin days. He seems to really want to be on Tectone's good side or at least be noticed by him, since at one point he even defended Tectone against Pinkchu's claims of sexual assault. And for some reason in this video where he does that, he has Alex Jones of all people doing the intro for him.
Conquering a world! We're the dominant species! We built all this! We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan.
Ah yes, in order to make yourself look very credible, you must have the guy who said the frogs were going gay in your intro. Holy crap.
I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The simping for Tectone got so bad, in fact, that at one point when Tectone made an entire tweet tagging a bunch of different people in his circle, people like Asmongold, Nuxtaku, Chibi-Ryus, Elon Musk, even Nicholas Light, all those sort of folks, Templar, despite not even being mentioned in this tweet at all, decided to reply under it and act like he was part of the group here, saying Jesus Christ is Lord. Like, come on, man, the attention seeking here is on a different level. But interestingly enough, one of the big reasons that Templar actually simps for Tectone as much as he does is, inevitably, he's also a big loli fan himself. Wow, shocker, I know. But unfortunately, much like Tectone, he doesn't really keep any of this to himself, and he's constantly hoarding on main quite a bit for loli characters. In fact, here's him gooning over a VTuber as he gifts her subs, and of course, the VTuber is loli presenting as well.
This message, bro.
Ugh.
Usually
what kind of animal do you think I am? Don't hurt her.
The greatest
What?
for playing the original.
I'm not. I would not be me. She doesn't stop talking.
It wasn't Mercury. It was something. I remember when Guitar Hero came out. That was awesome. But the little Tactical Templar. Thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community.
Jesus Christ, he didn't even try to hide the moaning in this clip. But I think one of the funniest parts about this is that this VTuber actually isn't that big. At the time he came in, she had about 11 viewers and she only has under 300 followers on Twitch overall. But even despite this, she still ignored him initially when he came in until he gifted her subs, which I find absolutely hilarious. It's like she just knew the kind of person he was when he came into the chat room. On top of this, inevitably, he has also defended Nuxtaku, like I said before, a known loli defender, a lot, and also defended people that feed directly into loli sensibilities, such as the VTuber Shonda, who is very notorious for having a VTuber model based on a baby that she brings out to cater towards a very degenerate, messed up crowd. And no, I will not be showing the clip of her doing this here, because it is incredibly disturbing, but if you want to find it, it's out there. Shonda got banned for Twitch for doing exactly this and feeding into this kind of behavior, and what do you know, Templar defended her. Wow. Also, somebody left this comment on his channel saying, America, age of consent is weird. It is made to set up men to failure with intent. So not only does the grammar on that comment completely suck, but it's also very blatantly totally wrong and very disturbing. And guess what? Templar goes ahead and hearts this comment. Wow. Oh, but don't worry, this isn't the only type of degeneracy that he's been known for, not by a long shot. He's also been known to go into women's replies on Twitter and tell them to get pregnant, get married, and get a husband. Yes, and that is as wild and as insane as it probably sounds. And you know what the funniest part is about this slogan that he loves to throw at women to try to force them to get pregnant? Apparently he's gone as far as to make a hat for this and puts that slogan on that hat and then posts a picture of the hat in the replies of women on Twitter. This guy acts like a parody of these kinds of people, but he's actually doing all this in real time. It's kind of amazing. He even tried to go into the replies of an IRL friend of mine, Miss Fushi, and tell her that she needed to get pregnant or else she was expiring. And yes, that is exactly as stupid as it sounds, and we had a good laugh about that later, the two of us. And I think the funniest part about this is that Templar doesn't realize just how ridiculous he looks doing these things. Like, he plays it completely straight. He's become a lolcow in recent memory because a lot more people have found out about him, and obviously he's a very easy person to make fun of just because of how insane all the things he does are. Whenever he finds himself getting mad at somebody online, which obviously he's done with me before, but now he's doing that with QAmon and Cope and Seethe and a few other commentary channels as well, he inevitably just kind of resorts to insulting them, like calling QAmon a British twink or calling me a gay lisping furry. Which, not gonna lie, I always find it really funny that Templar thinks I'm gay for some reason, which, if you know me, no, that is very much not the case. But I honestly find it really funny that he has the gall to try and insult others when not only are his points incredibly easy to debunk, he's incredibly stupid and media illiterate, but also more than likely he is suffering from obesity given the way he talks and the way he has to take a breath every 5 seconds. If I sounded like comic book guy from The Simpsons, I don't think I would be the one insulting people.
Yes, finally, I would like to return your quote-unquote ultimate belt.
Templar has also been notable for running from debates currently with QAmon since he claims that he's not quote-unquote mentally stimulating. Right, sure buddy. Hey Templar, since you don't want to debate QAmon, why don't you come and debate me instead? I'm totally open for it. You know, we could do it on your channel even. We could do it on your Kick channel where you get like 1 viewer per stream. Or heck, we could do it on your Twitch channel even, since you're recently telling people you want more viewership there and even told your chat to go lurk there after reading them a Bible verse.
So on the 7th day, he rested from all his work. Book 2, that is chapter 2 of the Bible. We read chapter 2 of Genesis. All right, first things first. I'm going to be putting a link to twitch.tv in the chat. I understand a lot of people have a revulsion at Twitch. I understand that. But in order to help my channel grow on Twitch, which I do think is an important thing, I'm going to ask that you open a tab and you put it on mute. Have it open. Watch it over there on Twitch if you want. You don't have to. Just put it on mute. It helps the channel Doesn't cost you a dime to do so.
Which I find very funny, given you've done a ton of videos crapping on Twitch in the past, but now apparently you want viewership there. Man, imagine wanting your chat to be on Twitch of all places, holy crap. Also, funny enough, because of all the obesity jokes surrounding him, Templar ended up getting a avatar made of him by his trolls that makes him look like a fat Templar. And this has been used to troll him even further, which I find absolutely amazing. Also, through his Kiwi Farms thread, people found out that his YouTube and Twitter accounts used to go by the alias Christopher C. Gabriel. And funny enough, around this time on Twitter, he had they/them pronouns in his bio. That's right, somebody who is currently an anti-woke grifter of all people used to have they/them pronouns in their bio. Wow, what an absolute shock. And I think it's even funnier that through this thread, we can actually find out that Templar wasn't always a Christian account. He actually used to go by the name Fan Advocacy Network, and not all of his content was really focused on Christianity and Twitch and all these sorts of things that he does now. Most of his older content was him complaining about things like Teen Titans, Captain Marvel, and other things that were often the popular comicscape topics of that era. He didn't actually start to take on the Tactikal Templar moniker until this video where he complained about having to play as a girl in Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Wow, what a thin-skinned loser. Oh man, I can't play as a girl in my Zelda game, that's so emasculating. As if you simping for Tectone and loli VTubers wasn't laughable enough. Oh, also, fun fact, he did a video talking about AI-generated child art and how it could be the quote-unquote next big problem. And in this video, he shows sexualized images of Wendy from Peter Pan, Wendy's the fast food mascot, and Wendy from Gravity Falls, all underage characters. Like, holy crap, man, why are you doing this? I'm honestly kind of astonished that YouTube hasn't taken down that video because of how awful it is. It really makes sense that someone like Tectone would claim that he learned Christianity from someone like Templar of all people. And obviously this is why Templar did switch up his angle of content from being a generic anti-woke content creator to having a more quote-unquote Christian crusader angle with it, because he wanted to A, appeal directly to that crowd without actually knowing much of what Christianity is at all, and also he wanted to use this as a way to try to get closer to the anti-woke content creators that he looked up to. People like Tectone, for example, which it does look like it worked in that situation, but to be fair, Tectone is also just as much of a lolcow as Templar, as we stated before. However, hilariously enough, someone else he tried this angle with was actually Asmongold, and this did not go over so well. After winning over a lolcow like Tectone to his fake Christian grift, Templar decided to set his sights on Asmongold next. At the time, Asmongold's father had passed away, so Templar thought it would be a good idea to try to insert himself into this emotional situation for Asmongold. I guess he thought during this emotional time for Asmongold, he could insert himself into the situation and try to win him over as a Christian crusader, which is honestly really disgusting. But of course, this ended up backfiring since Templar ended up inevitably making a fool of himself in this server as usual. He went around telling people with cunny PFPs that they had a nice PFP, which is of course very in character for him, being a loli lover, and he would constantly spam Bible verses and tell people that he was praying for them. Oh boy. But of course, being one of the main rules of Asmongold's Discord is that there should be no religious discussion there, he got banned pretty quickly. Wow, Asmongold has pretty base mods, I guess. But of course, Templar wasn't too happy about this, and instead of just taking the L and moving on, he made 4 different videos complaining about the Discord mods in Asmon's Discord. Are you freaking serious, bro? You could have just not continued to make a fool of yourself, but you made it even worse by making videos on them. And of course, this is something that also was recounted in the Kiwi Farms thread because it's just too funny and too good not to mention. Oh, and to make things even worse, Templar actually ended up reading his own Kiwi Farms thread on stream. As if he wasn't enough of a lolcow as it stood, this just sort of cemented the deal. Like, who reads their own Kiwi Farms thread or just looks themselves up like this in general? This is just stupid. Despite claiming to be part of the feelings crowd, it does seem like Templar has some pretty strong feelings about how people speak about him. Finally, things would get to the point where Templar just yesterday, in fact, posted a video called A Message to the Haters. And this video, I kid you not, is just an AI voice of James Earl Jones reading Bible verses. That's it. That's Templar's message to the haters, I guess.
And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God.
What even? This guy just manages to make himself look even worse at almost every turn, and it's kind of hilarious. Any slight thing he gets called out on, he'll immediately throw a tantrum over, and funny enough, he also did that to me recently. When he saw that I had posted the history of his brand changes on Twitter and also showed how hypocritical he was being, because obviously he didn't start as a Christian account and simply made that pivot when he wanted to try to suck up more to anti-woke creators, he immediately panicked and tried to claim I was trying to dox him of all things. Well, sorry Templar, but I'm not a weirdo, so I don't dox people. What I do though is debunk them and show the hypocrisy in their statements, and that's exactly what I did there, which is exactly why you had a big crash out. You guys make it way too easy. Ultimately, it actually does kind of seem like Tectone and Templar are basically made for each other anyway, since neither of them can handle criticism and they always crash out or deflect whenever they're called out on things. It makes sense that, of all people, Tectone would have learned quote-unquote Christianity from somebody like Templar. To be honest, given how thin-skinned these people are, they kind of both remind me of AndyPantsGaming, who, funny enough, is also somebody that has come to my channel before. As a lot of you may know, AndyPantsGaming actually started as someone who simply talked about Xbox games and made normal content on that before switching over to the anti-woke grift. And around the time of doing this, he actually tried to start beef with the Actman, who he thought was a woke YouTuber. And apparently the reason he thought Actman was woke was because he wasn't covering woke games like he was and making the same anti-woke slop content that Andy was. And as a result, he called him a gay communist. Yeah, right, clearly he's a gay communist just because he's not making slop content. So finally, after making a bunch of slop videos complaining about the Actman and saying he was a woke communist now, Andy finally got his wish and ended up on a debate with the Actman. And this debate was a complete disaster because Andy got totally bodied here by the Actman. Wow, shocker. And as a result, since the debate had been streamed on his channel before, he tried to hide it by simply age restricting the video and also turning off comments and eventually privating the video altogether. So after a while, Actman just uploaded the entire video on his channel instead, and Andy actually copyright struck this video like a coward. This guy was such a massive pussy that he couldn't even show that he got totally owned in this debate. So as a result, after this, he was pretty quiet about the Actman, although more recently he has been trying to get his attention again, even tagging him in his own community posts. And also, for some reason, Andy apparently has come to my channel before and tried to comment on some of my videos. I'm assuming he's looking for a debate, so yeah, Andy, if you want a debate, dude, I'm down for it. Hit me up on Twitter or Discord and we can figure something out. It does look like you really want my attention for some reason. But at the end of the day, all three of these guys are ultimately A, fake Christians, and B, major lolcows and grifters. They are, however, pretty funny to deconstruct and laugh at, so I'm curious to see if anything will happen in the future with Andy, Templar, or Tectone that'll be worth laughing at. But what do you think? Am I horribly wrong? Are these guys totally not grifters at all? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know who some of your favorite gaming commentators are in general. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video or learned something new from it. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a like and also consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do a lot of videos like this in general, covering video games, film, animation, and media discourse overall, so if you like this video, you'll probably like the other ones I have planned as well. You can also follow me on all my socials linked down below. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all the things. And if you're a fan of film, you can follow me on my letterbox to see all my written film reviews on there. You can also check out my Discord down below and hang out with like-minded folks there. Special thanks to my patrons and YouTube members who keep me doing what I do here by pitching in with extra monetary support. I appreciate y'all a ton. And thank you for coming to the very end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it or learned something new from it. But regardless, I've been Otterly Noah, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye!